All right. We move over to for someone looking for legacy type character stories outside of Marvel and DC.
So I definitely recency biased with this one, but I love this book so much,
Hmm.
and I love where it's going. And we talked with the author as well, Radiant Black, by Kyle Higgins and art by Marcelo Costa, and
So good.
it's got vibes of Power Rangers at times, which
Mm.
Higgins wrote, but it's such a unique and trippy and heady story, and it carries with it a lot of emotional baggage with it too.
Oh my god, the way it's gone
It's
now, these last few issues too. I think the
yeah,
last one's oh my lord,
yeah, and
did
so
not see that coming.
it's like I said, it's heady, it's a bit trippy at times, especially with the artwork, and but it's just there's a lot of really good action and there's a lot of really good emotion, and so like when you step away from the typical stuff that you get from Marvel and DC and Image, right? Yeah,
It's yeah, image, yeah.
yeah. It's so good, and it borrows from a couple of different things, no doubt about it. But it's I think for again introducing this to a newer reader that's
Hmm.
familiar enough with comics and familiar enough with superheroes, and that's the genre that they like. This
Hmm.
will be right in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Easy to read, like the way the first. I mean, I said it. I read the first issue. I'm doing this on the show. No ifs,
Hmm.
ands, or buts about it. It pulls you in, and then the direction it goes from there. It's just this is a great book, I think, for anybody.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Absolutely love this. I had a feeling this would be your pick for this. This is a no brainer. I mean, this is the art in this is awesome too. I mean, you're talking about the story primarily, and I couldn't agree with you more. Kyle Higgins has done a great job. Love his work in general, but like Marcelo Costa too. Like you said, it gets really trippy, and of course that's where the art comes into play. But these characters too are like superhero characters, but with very much a different look. But it feels like a familiar look as well. And I think that anybody who's just looking for a good story and then they care about superheroes, this is absolutely a book you can pick up. I know we're going to be doing our annual fairly soon, but I can't help but think like if we should be making our definitive list of must-read books, like TLDR must-read books from 2021. We haven't talked about doing that, but that like this is something that I would think like probably makes our list.
Yeah.
Conversation for another day between you and I, but
Yeah, and I was starting to put that together, and there's going to be some really great books that missed the cut because 2021 really brought it.
yeah, this has been 20 like we had some good stuff in 2020, but 2021, man, oh man, there's been a lot of good books. Of course, when I think of legacy type characters too that are like not Marvel or DC, Power Rangers come to mind. Star Wars is going to be doing back to Dark Horse stuff, so interested to see where that goes. The Witcher, we talked about what is it? We did Fading Memories on here. We talked about that quite a bit. Really enjoyed that series. That was there's also Witch's Lament, which I did not like quite as much. I don't know if Joe ended up reading that one, but Dune, of course, you just talked about that on the show. Buffy, there's a ton of Buffy comics from Boom Studios. And Power Rangers, there's stuff from Higgins and Ryan Parrott from a few years ago, and then there's the stuff that Parrott's doing right now, which I was thinking about going with Power Rangers here, but then I was like, Invincible is so much at the forefront right now that I have to say this is the one. I talked about this on the show a while back. Now I did it very like kept it toward like the earlier volumes of Invincible because there's just I didn't know what the show was going to do. Definitely some differences between the show and the comics, but very much a similar vibe. So if you know someone that likes this, that like the series, there are some differences where you can go and read the comic, you'd still enjoy it, be like, oh, that's a change, whatever. Comics are different than novels in that regard. Like or graphic novels are different than prose novels in that regard, I should say, where you can go and watch something, but then you go and read it, and it's a different experience. You can still enjoy it very much. And there's just so much more to Invincible. Of course, Robert Kirkman, like this Ryan Otley. There's just so much more to this series that like they can get way beyond the show. The first season was great, but we can get way beyond this and be ahead of the game when that second season, even like third, fourth, fifth come around, because this
Yeah.
show's not going anywhere. We're gonna this be around for a long time.
Yeah, that was a fantastic show, and I look forward to reading the books at some point. But yeah, that was a hell of a pick.